The idea of God setting purposes and presenting challenges to test faith finds its foundations in various passages of the Bible. These references provide insights into the divine purpose behind the tests and challenges faced by those who follow God. The passage from James highlights the concept that trials produce perseverance and maturity in faith. Through challenges, God's servants are spiritually refined, developing a faith that is resilient in the face of adversity. The book of Job is often cited to illustrate the manifestation of character amid trials. Job's assertion that after being tested, he would come forth as refined gold underscores how tests reveal the true character of faith and devotion. The passage in Romans emphasizes the belief that all things, including challenges, work for the good of those who love God. This suggests the existence of a greater divine purpose that transcends human understanding. Both in Proverbs and Hebrews, there is the idea that God disciplines and corrects those whom he loves. Challenges can be seen as opportunities for learning and correction, guiding believers toward a path more aligned with divine will. He also called us to be conformed to the image of his Son, Jesus Christ. Challenges can be interpreted as part of the process of spiritual growth and conformity to this image. By examining these biblical references, there is a consistency in the message that challenges and tests are not just arbitrary obstacles, but part of a broader divine plan. These challenges are seen as opportunities for spiritual growth, manifestation of character, learning, correction, and ultimately, conformity to the will of God. Abraham's challenge, in which God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac, is a rich narrative from which we can glean various valuable lessons for our everyday lives. Here are 5 lessons we can learn from the challenge God gave to Abraham. Unwavering faith and obedience. The primary lesson from Abraham's challenge is the demonstration of unwavering faith and extreme obedience to God. Abraham was willing to follow divine instructions even in the face of a seemingly contradictory request to God's promises about his descendants. This lesson underscores the importance of placing full trust in the divine, even in extreme situations. The saga of Abraham and Isaac highlights, above all, Abraham's remarkable, unwavering faith and readiness to obey a divine call that seemed paradoxical to many. This episode not only emphasizes the depth of Abraham's trust in God, but also his willingness to fulfill an order that, on the surface, challenged God's previous promises about Abraham's descendants. The fundamental lesson here is about faith that transcends human logic and obedience that goes beyond conventional expectations. At the core of the Abraham and Isaac narrative emerges the essence of a faith that surpasses the bounds of reason and an obedience that transcends human understanding. We can explore the interplay between faith and reason. Abraham's story offers a glimpse of unwavering faith that doesn't waver in the face of apparent contradictions. Abraham, in this context, becomes an archetype of those whose trust in God transcends conventional expectations, reflecting the idea that true faith operates beyond the limits of logic, delving into the depths of unconditional trust. Divine provision. The story of Abraham and Isaac also highlights divine provision. God provided a ram at the last moment to be sacrificed instead of his son. This illustrates the belief that God always provides a solution, often beyond human understanding, and that obedience to him results in divine blessings and provisions. The twist in Abraham's challenge, when a ram is provided at the last moment to replace Isaac in the sacrifice, underscores the unforeseen divine provision. This emphasizes the belief that God, even when challenging us, always provides a solution. This lesson suggests that by trusting and obeying, we may encounter divine provisions that transcend our immediate understanding, demonstrating the faithfulness and generosity of the divine. The twist in the narrative, where a ram is provided at the last moment, resonates with the recurring theme of divine provision that many of us have explored throughout our lives. In this episode, divine provision is not just an isolated event, but an expression of divine generosity that goes beyond human expectations. The idea that God always provides, even in the most challenging situations, echoes the understanding of a deity that is simultaneously challenging and loving, surprising us with his grace amid our limitations. Loyalty test. Abraham's challenge was an intense test of his loyalty to God. This raises the lesson that, in our spiritual journey, we may face tests that question our devotion and loyalty to God. These challenges can be opportunities for spiritual growth and a demonstration of our dedication to the divine. The story of Abraham is essentially an extraordinary test of his loyalty that empowers us to be like him. This episode underscores that the spiritual journey often involves challenges that question our devotion and loyalty to the divine. Each of us may face tests that require a choice between our will and God's will. The loyalty test is an opportunity for spiritual growth and a reaffirmation of our dedication to the divine. We often address themes of tests and trials as a means of spiritual development and how to put them into practice. Abraham's narrative becomes a mirror for such concepts, portraying the patriarch as someone subjected to an extraordinary loyalty test. Just as many of us have explored challenges as instruments of growth, Abraham's story highlights the spiritual journey as a testing ground, where loyalty is refined and strengthened in the face of adversities. Understanding the mysteries of God. The narrative suggests that we don't always fully comprehend God's plans. God's initial request to Abraham may have seemed perplexing, but the final resolution revealed a higher purpose. This reminds us that our human understanding can be limited, and trusting in divine mysteries is an integral part of the spiritual journey. God's initial challenge to Abraham, followed by the surprising twist, illustrates that we don't always fully grasp his plans, even though we know he is always ready to assist. This lesson highlights the mysterious nature of divine will and the need to trust, even when God's paths seem unfathomable. Abraham's story suggests that true faith includes embracing divine mysteries, trusting that the Creator sees beyond the reach of our finite understanding. We can only see the present, but he knows and understands what will happen in a day, 10, or 1,000 years. The initial episode of God's request, followed by the dramatic twist, resonates with his trademark with us, the exploration of divine mysteries. The narrative suggests that, much like many biblical heroes advocated accepting mysterious aspects of faith, the true understanding of divine will often eludes our immediate comprehension. Abraham, by accepting a role in a cosmic drama beyond his understanding, embodies the lesson about the need for a faith that embraces divine mysteries without demanding detailed explanations. The value of submission. The lesson of submission to God is prominent in the story of Abraham. He not only demonstrated faith but also complete submission to divine will. This highlights the importance of surrendering to God's guidance in our lives, trusting that his wisdom and plans surpass our limited understanding. These lessons, derived from the challenge, resonate in many religious traditions and are interpreted in various ways, but collectively, they offer profound insights into faith, obedience, and the relationship between God and humankind. Abraham's submission to God's request is an essential lesson that permeates the entire narrative. He not only demonstrates faith but also submits completely to divine will, even when it implies sacrificing something invaluable. The lesson here is about surrendering to God's guidance in our lives, understanding that his wisdom transcends our limited understanding, and submission is an expression of trust in divine direction. Submission to the divine request is intrinsic to our spiritual journey, echoing reflections on voluntary submission to God's will. In this context, Abraham becomes an example of total submission, transcendently portrayed as a model of trust that fully surrenders to divine guidance. The lesson of submission, in harmony with the philosophy of being a follower of Christ, emphasizes the understanding that true freedom and spiritual fulfillment arise from confident surrender to God's direction, a submission that is paradoxically liberating in its essence. Lessons related to personal development can be integrated into daily life through an active commitment to learning and growth. This may involve setting personal goals to enhance intimacy with God, seeking additional knowledge, acquiring new skills, and constantly reflecting on life experiences. Cultivating the habit of regularly setting aside time for personal development can lead to significant changes with God over time. Fostering personal connections, whether through social gatherings at church, supportive messages, Bible reading, or active participation in groups with common interests, is a way to incorporate and enhance the importance of communion with God. Developing the habit of investing time in a closer relationship with Christ strengthens our faith, determination, bonds, and contributes to a deeper sense of belonging to the free gift of salvation. Which of these 5 lessons would you like to start incorporating? Which ones are you already practicing but would like to improve? Leave your comment telling us.